Welcome back to another episode. Look what just found. Today, I'm going to do a special video and I'm going to show people what I found during my episode 108 Pockets Change edition of Unsearched Pennies. I'm going to show the significant findings from this episode, and I'm going to let you decide whether or not searching pennies. Forget about, you're talking about quarters and half dollars. You're talking about, you're talking about hundreds of dollars. So to me, that kind of, um, that is not the focus of this video for, can you turn a coin search into a daily coin search into a side hustle, right? Because if you have that kind of money, then I'm not going to, so I'm not talking about that today. Quarters, half dollars, silver dollars, gold. You know what I mean? I'm talking about just pennies that you get. Now, where you get the pennies from, that is, I don't want to say it's a separate topic. It is kind of a separate topic. I don't use eBay anymore. I did it twice, and they were searched. Point blank and simple. How do I know? Because I know what unsearched looks like, and they were nothing like what my unsearched searches look like. So I don't use them anymore. I didn't. I tried twice, and they were both very similar from sellers that have, a lot that they say that that's what they sell, and they're searched through. There's no anyway. They're searched. So this was from my cousin, right? 13 and a half pounds of unsearched pocket change. We've done about half of it so far in the previous videos. Today we did about not even 2 rolls of pocket of his pennies that he donated to the channel. Not even 2 rolls. In the past, from this bag of pennies in the past, we found several Indian head cents. Excuse me, one Indian head cent, several wheat pennies, and obviously those have some value. You can you can watch the video when it comes out, episode 108. But today I'm going to show you the significant findings. Again, as a as a look at whether or not you think that if you found pennies like this on a daily basis, if you could make it into a side hustle. And I'm going to let you decide that, okay? So this was the little intro into the rest of this video. And without further ado, we're going to look at what I found today. And I'm not going to do there's a link below if you want to know how to search for the values of coins. There's a link below this video. It says if you want to learn how, I think it actually says if you want to learn how to search prices on eBay's recently sold. So don't, if you're gonna ask me in the comments below, I'm gonna refer you back to that video. Okay. Now I can give a general idea, but I can't say what it's worth. I could just say, a roundabout at the end. Maybe we could look at what the value is of what I found today. Okay, so let's check that out. So this is what we found from, right. So I said about 2 rolls, right. So I don't know. To me, this looks like it's pretty close. Might be less than 2 rolls. A roll and 3/4 or something like that. Mostly zinc, right. We found 2 significant errors. Actually, we found more than 2, but we found this much copper. We found a fine copper. We found 2 absolute stunners. both 73s. Now, think about it. Can you believe we found these in pocket? This is from Pocket Change. Absolute stunners. Okay. We found an annealed scent. This is an absolute beauty of it's an 82D large date copper. You can see on the edges, it's also red. This is an annealed or it's a sintered. I call them annealed. To me, sintered is when it's more of a lamination era because it's sintered to me is when the copper itself is colored. Annealed, see, but I've seen it say sintered / annealed. So I'm not going to get too far into it. Um, it could be either or I could be wrong on both. So you could correct me in the comments. But again, I call this annealed because it's the copper coating that's fired onto, and you can see like the difference actually on the bottom. You see how on the bottom, that's where the copper dust wasn't there during the annealing process, and the rest you can see it. So this is a beautiful example of annealed, absolute beautiful example. So we have the annealed, we have the two, AU 73s. Some of these I can't remember what the issue was, so I'll have to look at it again. We'll look at it together. Uh, there's a little circle here on the A. So I don't know. I don't know what this would be called. You know, it's an anomaly. It's a mint error. It's not a watermark. It's a little circle on the A. I don't know if it would be considered a strike through or there's a special name for that type of an error. It's pretty cool though. Oh, okay. This is an 82 copper large date, right? And the reverse, I believe that. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right penny. Let me look. I have to look it under the loop. Oh, I think I might have just put this to the side because of the condition it's in. So this is this is just a beautiful condition 82. So I don't usually find them in this condition. I'm actually going to weigh this. I don't know why it feels so. Remember, the 82 is the transitional year between zinc and copper. It's 307. So this is a really beautiful condition example of an 82 copper large date. I mean, it's just crazy. Just a very extremely beautiful example. We found the wheat cent 49D, at least fine condition. All right. I don't know if I screwed it up. Look at the reverse on this penny. Okay. When I picked this up, I picked it up on the reverse. If you already saw it, you saw it. Um, but I was like, wow, look at this copper penny. Can you believe the condition it's in? And then when I turned it around, it was an 85. So it's a zinc. And if you look at the obverse here, it looks very zinkish, right? You can see the clad layer has that golden, zinky. I mean, it's copper, but it has that clad, that copper clad look. And the reverse does not. The reverse looks and it is a little bit heavy. It's not out of tolerance, but to me, that reverse is super duper, like has like an extra layer of clad almost. I mean, I really thought that this was copper. Okay, so we found that. I couldn't believe when we picked up this one. Obviously, it's very similar to the one we just looked at, except this is copper. It's an 81. I don't think this is a business strike. I think this is a special strike. I don't know if it's a proof or not, but it's a crazy 81. Beautiful. I mean, it's a little bit nicer than the other ones we were looking at than these. Like this, you could tell this is a business strike. You can tell that's a business strike. This, I don't think is a business strike. Could be a proof. I'm not sure, or proof like or something like that. I'm not sure why I put this to the side. Some of these I'm not sure. By the way, you see that there? That's a rim dent. Okay, I'm going to put it next to the other penny because we found another rim dent. But this is it's a type of mint error. They always look the same. They look like little footballs, and it happens at the mint. Now, does it happen while it's being produced? That I don't remember. But regardless, it's done at the mint, and they don't give any value whatsoever to the coin. But you see them on pennies a lot, and it has a stereotypical look, and they're called rim dents, and that's what they look like. Okay, we're gonna use that for future reference in a minute. It's that 81, right? Yeah, crazy. Now, this is zinc rot, right? But on this penny, some of this zinc rot is different, right? Like there's a good chance some of you who've seen zinc rot never seen zinc rot like this, right? Like that circle there. I mean, they look like they're going through letters. Um, they have these. They have a look to them that is a little different than typical, right? It's not typical. Look at that one. Circles like O's. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful in its own way. And it's different, right? So this might be a scent that someone would want to buy. Only because it's so different. Look how it's going through the letters. Again, not a mint era, but just an incredible example of copper plate blistering. Look at that. I mean, it's weird. I mean, there might actually be something going on here. To be honest with you, I'm looking at this now, and that actually looks like a strike through. So there might be something going. I don't understand what's actually going on here. Maybe you can leave it in the comments below. But my point is that something like this, right? I would never put something like this back in a roll. I would keep this either for myself or I would try to sell this. And like I said, I'm going to say someone's going to pay between $5 and $20 for a penny like this. Now, I'm going to get comments below. Oh, I found pennies like this. You know what? Not like this. Not with those. And especially again, if these are strike throughs, right? Look at that circle. I've never seen them like this. So this could be a strike through scent with, with just some exotic stuff going on. Has value. Oh, look at that. I was wondering why I had this on the side. Look, you can see it without magnification. I'm going to call this a die crack. It could be a crazy blister. Irregardless, it's a mint era. Oh yeah, I'm going to call that a die crack, but that's a great die crack. A great die crack. Great. I mean, on the zinc, I don't know. Hardly, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever found one that nice before, to be honest with you. Right through the letter, man. I'm going to say, $5 penny. I put this to the side. I'm going to do a short on it. It's just so cool. No value. This has no value. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. Somebody might want something that has this super forest green look to it. It's just so unique. And this is the type of stuff. Look, it's even on the rim. Is it? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Somebody might want something like this for their collection because it's unique. I've never seen one this green before. This color green, excuse me. This color green. Now, maybe with a little bit on it, you know, but the whole penny, front and back, no, that's pretty unique. Maybe someone will pay $1 or $2 for that. Now, I'm going to show you what this is. What a parking lot. Pretty much, I think this is from a parking lot. You know, being smashed around a million times. This is not from a parking lot. Again, this might be an annealed or a sintered cent, and the damage that's done on it. See, to me, that, you know, I've never seen parking lot with that type of, how it was damaged. Where, that's a different question. But that gold copper contrast against the dark annealed background, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful. What's it worth? I don't know. Someone might, if someone likes exotic scents like this, they might pay $5 for this. You know, you just have to wait for the right buyer on this. Will they pay more for it? They might pay more. You know, will they pay less for it? Maybe they'll pay $2 or $3. It's hard to say. And this is the last one, I think, unless this is one from before. Okay, so I took this one out. I remember it because usually when you get a tilted hub, right? The hub tilt is on one side and then the other side is not. But this one, for some reason, the whole impression of the hub is around the whole entire scent. And that is a little different. So I just took this one out really to do a short on it. I'm going to say no value. Would someone pay $1 for it? Maybe. Hard to say. You know, you can always try to sell it for $1. Maybe eventually someone will come around and pay $1 for it because it is different, you know. Okay, so that's that. That's the wrap up. Let's very quickly. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do the 2 errors. So before I showed the where is it at? Well, anyway, before I showed the where is it at? I showed the dye dent. Remember the dye dent? Check this out. Now this takes a studious and patient search through to find. But there's a strike through on this dye dent. Is that crazy? You can see a little bit there on the rim next to it, right there. But it's basically mostly here. So again, dye dents are done at the mint. They look like footballs, just like this does, or diamonds, whatever you want to call it. But this one hit another penny, and it left the image. I don't know exactly where that. I'm assuming it's from another penny. I'm going to assume that, okay, because it's a penny. And I saw it when I checked out the dye dent, and I saw this, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" This is one of the most unique things I've ever found on a scent. A strike through on the dye dent. So it had to be like this, and somehow it hit it. I have no idea how it was created. Okay. And last but not least, I'm going to give you a second to take this in. It's a 1982. This is a small date. Right? The small date 2 looks like a question mark. The small date 2 looks like a question mark. Okay. The large date 2 looks like a candy cane. So it's a small date, which I find less of them. I'm gonna assume that they minted less 82 small dates than they did large dates. The condition is, I don't know. This is like AU something, man. This is incredible condition. Can they do conservation on those little darkness? Maybe, I don't know. I guess that would happen. So it's an 82 small date in AU condition that's misaligned with the rim splitting towards the top. And I'm going to give you a second to look to see if you can see the other error on the coin. and it has the prison scent die clash on it. And you can see it also on the reverse. That's the face. You can see that's the neck of the face, whatever it is. And it's in here. You can see it in between the columns. It's very light. It's very light, but I think it's most noticeable right there. You can see it. You can see it there. Okay. So the last scent was an 82 small day AU condition misaligned die with a die clash on it. And in part 2 of episode 108, you can see where I found it. So very quickly, we got this is crazy. This is how many, and especially with some, you have to pay attention to detail. We got the strike through, we got the die clash, we got the wheat scent, we got the copper, um, proof like. We have the other strike through the zinc. We have the die crack, and we have another AU type penny, and plus those a couple other anomalous scents. You know, there's a cup. The 82 small date could be I'm going to say $20-$30 penny, something like that. Now, the one that might get some people going is the rim dent. So that's not a strike through. I'm pretty sure it's a strike through. I've never rim dents are always very smooth. That one has like little details in it, so I'm pretty sure it is a strike through. Is it a mint error? I'm pretty sure it's a mint error. Yeah, strike throughs are mint errors. So I'm pretty sure it is. How it was created, I think it's so wild that the brain, it's hard to figure out, but it looks like a strike through, and it's on the rim dent. Now, without getting that verified through a grading company, maybe you get $5-10 for it, because you have to get somebody who's agreeing with you, right? If that was graded uh, and verified as a strike through on a rim dent, I mean, it could be such a unique coin that could be worth hundreds of dollars. Okay. And then we had the proof. Even if that was a proof is only $1 or $2. They're not really that valuable, but it is a buck. Could be a buck, right? The proof like and the AUs might be another buck or two. And then we had that zinc, that really astonishing looking zinc with the blistering and possible strike through. Some really crazy stuff happening with that penny. Anywhere between $5 and $50, depending on how much research and if those are actually strike throughs. But the images on it are so unique and exotic that it would get a premium for those the circles and the bubbles, and it's really super crazy. It would get a premium. I mean, on the low side, $10. Anyway, so this is from a handful of unsearched pennies that my cousin donated to the channel, and I'm gonna give it, 40 to $50 in value on eBay, um, minimum. Maximum, if and again, you don't take every offer you get. I mean, quick sales, just $2 here, $5 there, $10 there, maybe $40 or something like that. And then on the high side, if they get graded and verified, you're talking about hundreds of dollars possibly. So with true unsearched change, in this case, we're talking about cents. Yes, 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 yes. You could. It can definitely be a side hustle, 5, $10 a day, and then if you find really nice errors, 20, 30, $40 a day, 7 days a week. Now the problem is, where do you get the material from? That's the issue. I got lucky with that change, and I probably have another 10, 10 videos that I could make out of that, and then it's over, right? So that's a hustle is something that you could do for a lifetime, really. So you would have to go out and get more unsearched change. And a lot of the roles I shouldn't say that. Some of the roles you're going to get from the bank are searched if they're customer submitted roles, and the federal roles, they have high, the newer pennies, the wrap pennies. There's no copper, and they're very few, and a lot of the errors are kind of common. So, in my opinion, the unsearched change that you can get from someone who has been collecting their change in pennies for years and years and years, that's where the value is, and that's hard to find. But if you found someone, let's say, who had a jug, and you really went out there searching, and maybe you paid the person, the weight in copper, right? Which is, it's going to hit $5 a pound soon. So if they had £100, £100 full jar, and you offer them $500 for it, they probably take it. They don't have to go bring it someplace. You can't melt pennies down, blah, blah, blah. They don't only get a penny for it at the bank. And if it was truly unsearched, like you did, you went through some random, you might even drop it all into a bucket. Be like, look, I'll take it, but I'm gonna take samples of it. I got to make sure, and you need to see a bunch of wheat cents in it. I found an Indian head cent in a small sample from that bag. Proof likes, and if you don't find any of that stuff, like if you don't find wheat cents in a handful of unsearched, like the person says is 10, 20, and 10 pounds, excuse me, in 100 pounds of copper, you're talking about years and years and years of that's someone's pocket change, maybe 20, 30 years. I would expect quite a few wheat cents in every palmful. And if there's none, it's searched. Point blank and simple. We got a wheat cent here from 150 pennies. Um, anyway, my point is that yes, it could be a side hustle, but I don't know, is that worth it? Is it worth putting that much work into making 20, $30 a day? That becomes the question, right? You can make $20 an hour at some places in McDonald's now. You work 8 hours, you're making $160. Here you are, maybe 3 or 4 hours and then you have to list it. And then if you sell it, you have to mail it out. So yes, yes, it can be a side hustle. It's not going to make you rich, but it might be more work than it's worth. All right. So thank you if you've stayed for the whole half hour. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.